Right, morning guys. As promised, I said I was just going to do a quick tutorial on the action that I shared in Dropbox, and you should have your action downloaded already. And you'll see now we've got our raw image in Photoshop. So you're just going to go to Window. Well, that's my quick time. We're going to go to Window. Excuse my mails popping up. So we're going to go to Window. We're going to go to Actions, and your action should display on the right side here. We're going to do this simple frequency separation 8-bit, and you will see immediately this actually comes up already for you. These are normally functions that you've got to do within Photoshop. Now this is all done for you, so it makes it quite quickly. And then you're going to see your high frequency and your low frequency layers down below to your right. I always start with repairing the skin, so that, as you guys must know, that's in your high frequency. And I'm a big fan of the clone tool. Okay, so as you can see, we are dealing with Rajan here, who's got already a nice skin. So we don't have a lot of work to do, but there's always some work. I tend to soften these areas here a little bit, but I don't take them fully away. So we're going to just zoom in a little bit. And with your clone tool, you can see you can, so again, remember your clone tools over here. You can sample close by and just work skin a little bit. Okay, what I am going to be doing is I'm obviously going to run through it relatively fast, then I will time lapse the video for you guys, okay, because otherwise it's going to be rather large. And if you take a look at this area over here, I always start forehead. There's no particular rule where to start, and I don't work so zoomed in. I sort of keep it at about this percentage here. Sort of, if you can take a look over here, between 60 and 70%. Be very careful here. Don't develop into a pattern. Okay, so don't sit and start focusing on one area too much. Otherwise, a pattern will emerge, and you're going to see that you've tried to repair one area. So you see, I'm just working very slight areas here with the clone tool. The beauty of this frequency separation, it really allows you to work within the layers. You'll see on this this action there is an advanced action, but I don't recommend you guys use it. Okay, it's a little bit it can be a little bit tricky. So to start, just work on the simple one, and you'll see it just says frequency separation 8 or 16-bit, depending on how you're converting. So I'll just work these little areas here. Also, I must tell you, I'm quite, even on a full-length image, I'll edit like I would edit a portrait. Okay, a lot of guys say, well, no, it's a quick one, and let's just focus on dodge and burn and a little bit of Gaussian blur, and then we'll render the image. But I don't work that way. I probably spend the same amount of time on a full-length image as what I do on a portrait. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go sort of radio silence, and I'm going to time lapse it for you guys. So I'm just going to carry on working this area, and then we will come back to the end product. Okay. Okay, so guys, I'm back now. So this is just, we're probably not going to get through the entire image because, again, you'll be sitting with a 25-30 minute video and that's going to drive you guys insane. So I'm just going to teach you my technique, what I do to render the images that you see on my portfolio. Okay, so I've basically done the, let's say we've done the skin blemishes on high, yeah, it's on the high frequency. I'm a big user of curves. So I'll always go in the middle of the graft. Okay, if you see this area here, and I pump up the curves ever so slightly. Again, this is to your eye and how you've exposed. Okay, you see I always underexpose, so I push up the curves a little bit, and then I go to your exposure, which is this little block here, and I drop the offset to minus 52. Okay. Immediately now I'm actually preparing, I've actually almost got a natural dodge and burn here. Okay. Then I go into low frequency, and I'm a big fan of the Gaussian blur. Okay. So we select our lasso tool, and you'll find there's hot spots all over. There's all little hot spots over here. So I select my lasso tool, and we will always go underneath the eyes. Sort of take it and I keep it, I watch the contours. That's why hence makeup is quite important. Okay, I always keep this sort of area here. Now the Gaussian blur, it'll default to 14 pixels. Okay, you've got to be careful here, be very, very careful. Sometimes I actually pump it to 14, but generally I set it about 8.5, especially if you're working with a model that has a really smooth and beautiful skin tone. So we're gonna keep it at 8, but it's really up to you guys. It's your eye. Again, this is sort of a hot area here. Okay, and also there are quick tools. Okay, you'll see now. There are tools you can sort of use. Okay, sorry, that's my mouse going mad. I sort of just need this sort of smoothened out as well. But try and stay away from the dark areas, okay? See, there's a quick tool. So that'll, if you just hit the Gaussian blur there, it'll actually default back to your last setting. Okay, and already now you can start seeing a difference. See, this is a little bit mottled here. I might just crank this up a little bit. Yeah, that's it there. Okay. And this is how you view your image. Don't view it up like that. Okay, not at all. You view it down. Just bring it down to about 16 to 20%. Pardon me. Okay, so again, I haven't focused too much on the skin blemish. I just want to push through it a little bit. And so now we're sitting, we've done our curves, we've done our exposure. So we're going to go back to the action. We are going to select dodge and burn, and this is great. It's got a dodge and burn layer in it already for you guys. Okay, and you know you've got your dodge. I always start with my burn first, and I'm always on at about 5%. Okay, again, also depending on the lighting and the model. Okay, so here we can actually just push. I just pop things out a little bit. And you'll see I actually work over existing areas. Don't try and recreate your own. Okay. There's existing there. This area there. This shows a bit of more detail. I always do irrespective if the makeup artist is brilliant, the flash photography generally washes out the makeup sometimes. So we just increase the exposure. And I always just very lightly do underneath the eyes and the eyebrows, especially in areas like this, you see. And you'll find, guys, when you burn like this, it immediately pops out your subject's eyes. Okay, immediately. You don't really even need to do selective sharpening at all. Okay, as you can see now already, now we've got it showing results. See the eyes popping out already. While I'm on the eyes, we're going to dodge. This year, I would, depending on again on your model, but between 14 and 18. Now I know this model, she loves her eyes popping out. So you can take a look at this. We haven't touched it. She's got beautiful eyes. So we haven't touched it. All I do is actually just go over with the dodge. And I actually go over the existing reflections here. So we just keep it quite natural. Always try and, okay, the catch light was slightly high there. So that's not a problem. We can see we just pop out a little bit there. Just be very careful with the eyes. It can look very, very fake. Especially if you see, now we're going to fix the little vessels in our eyes. Most girls do have it, especially girls who don't sleep well the night before. So we go into the high frequency, because again, that's your layer that repairs. And you've got this tab here, which is a spot healing brush tool, patch tool. I use a healing brush tool, which you can basically sample in one area, and you keep very, very short strokes, because you see, if I have to go, I can't continue. I've got to do little erasure marks basically. Guys, I'm not a fan of, I don't sit and whiten this area, because it really does make the eyes look too fake then. Okay, so we just clean up a little bit. That's all I'm doing. And it is noticeable in the final product. See, nice and natural. I sort of also will take a look-see, and maybe I actually use the Gaussian blur to blend. You can use the motion blur tool, but we're not going to chat about that now in this one. Okay. So I'll go back to low frequency. I'll go back to my lasso tool, and I'll just select this area here. Okay. And you'll find this technique, it actually does work. It blends nicely. But remember what I said on the, I might just pump up the pixels. Remember what I said in the workshop as well. Your makeup artist and model is critical to a successful production. So you shouldn't have to be sitting here working with too many blemishes. I know that we sometimes can't choose our models. And again, that just means you can have a lot more time in your high frequency layer and using your clone tool, fixing up blemishes. Okay. Now color grading. For my photography, I use the color balance, and I'm big into reds and pumping reds and blues, and then bringing the green in. So if you take a look how dramatic this is, okay, and this is purely your eye. It's what you want to do with it. Okay. You know, you can choose to have more blues. You see, I just bring in the greens. You see how it changes. I've found this, it's just a lot faster. A lot of people, we can take and merge two photographs. Okay, and then you can just take a brush and on, let's say, 25% bring in the original content of the image one. But I don't do that. It's not needed. Okay, it's a time killer. So again, the midtones and So if you take a look here, shadows, I've pumped up a little bit, but it's really, you've got artistic license here. Midtones I sometimes don't touch anything, or maybe drop a little bit, ever so slightly. And this has taken a couple of minutes. And you see how quick, already now you've got yourself an image. Okay, take a look. So, to recap, you're going to start, if you've downloaded the action, it's going to be in the Windows, okay, in your Window tab under Actions, and there you will be using the 8-bit or 16-bit, depending on how your image is rendered, and then the dodge and burn. And it's done. Simple as that. Thank you, guys.